Hello, everybody. My name is Ed. I'm in my armchair, and the smoking lamp is lit. And yes, the smoking lamp is a thing. More of this later. Well, a couple weeks from now. But guess what I'm smoking today? My favorite pipe. Look at this guy. Stanwell. Now, it's not an Sexton design, which I collect, but it is a beauteous Megamus Maximus pipe. And a little story on this. When I buy pipes, a lot of times it's how they look. And of course, take advantage of the reputation of pipe smokers or makers, but how they look. Now, this one would be a little bit different for me. I'm more into the classical shapes, although in getting into Stanwell, definitely learning about the Danish designs. But in looking for stuff for the Sexton collection, this was maybe, 4-5 years ago now. I saw this pipe, I believe on eBay, and I was thinking of, okay, because it is a Stanwell, which I love Stanwells. So I was thinking about it. But within a day or so, I was watching Professor Jeremiah. Professor Jeremiah. Almost said Jeremiah Johnson again. Anyway, I love watching him. And he usually would take out a pipe and take out a blend, give a review of the blend, and a little bit about the pipe. And this pipe, which is number 126 design, he had it. He just had one. He was smoking it. And I go, I like that now. I was not, I was iffy, but But he had one, so I had to get one. And I'm glad I did. It is a nice pipe. Really, really like this pipe. And considering all my pipes, this one does get a little bit more of the lion's share, if you will. So, Stanwell 126. You gotta like it. So, a couple things to cover before the main presentation. First, and this is not as important or not as big as it used to be, but Father's Day starts Pipe Week, which a lot of you new guys probably not even been to. And unless you've been around for a couple years, you probably don't pay too much attention to. But at one time, Pipe Week was starting with Father's Day to that Saturday, we used to have a lot of little events. Not as much anymore, but one of the things I did on Pipe Week was I did a video every day for Pipe Week. I think I was the first one to do that. Also, we did have awards. I didn't get nothing. I got nothing. But, a few people have asked and brought up in comments, talk a little bit more about me as pipe smoker, YTPC, just stuff. Anyway, that got me thinking. Of course, I had to take some aspirin, because I had to do some thinking, and that the brain drain. Nah, I'm sorry. Anyway, so what I'm going to be doing, starting Father's Day, I'm going to break down my video, the parts of my video, the armchair piper, the smoking lamp, the captain, Dr. Bo, our ending. Just going to kind of break that down each day. That's what I'm going to do to keep my tradition of doing something every day of Pipe Week. I haven't actually heard anything of Pipe Week this year. It may be a dead subject, but what the heck. Also, this week, I got a special gift from B-Dog Piper. Gotta check him out. Nice guy. Nice little smoking room that he just completed. Little bar. Like it. But he does stained glass. And he did stuff that I've seen. He has you can either have a cigar or a pipe in it. And he gifted one to me. What a guy. So anyway, picture right here. I love it. I love it. I saw him doing it. He gave a few of them away on a, little giveaway, which I didn't win, but I wanted one. So thank you very much. Thank you. Lately, I have had in my videos talked about some of my Navy days. Mentioned Hong Kong, and a few people have made comments of what are we going to hear the Hong Kong stories. So, yeah, let's talk about them. Now remember, this is going to be a PG version of my Hong Kong pursuit of happiness. Well, okay, to set this up is when the ships are out, Christmas time, New Year's, what they did, I mentioned this before, they kind of broke us up so that those that were off the coast of Vietnam, deployed there, would be relieved, and they can go to a great Liberty port, mainly Hong Kong, for New Year's. And those people that were in Hong Kong for Christmas could go, would relieve them, and they'd be on duty for New Year's. So that was the thing. We had spent Probably the longest time out at sea, completely, you know, consistently. This was close to 3 weeks. It wasn't 3 weeks, but it was a long time. I mean, we spent my 20th birthday, December 13th, out at sea, Christmas, out at sea, and then somewhere in the middle there, we got relieved and we went to Hong Kong. So Hong Kong, wow. First, being a signalman, that meant that my duty is on the top of the ship above the pilot house, outside. And just getting into Hong Kong Harbor was so incredible, so beautiful. And then we also had all of these sampans and stuff just darting back and forth in front of our ship. We're going to hit you, and they figured it out, never got hit. They were darting in front of us. That was funny. So we get to Hong Kong and the big harbor, and we basically anchored in the harbor. So we had to take a shuttle boat for Liberty. So we were there 5 days. Being kind of a junior guy, I had 2 of those days where I was on duty. The first day was when we first got in, so not that big a deal because, half the day was getting in there. We only had the evening. I was on duty. And I'll tell you, Hong Kong at night is just gorgeous. You just got to realize that you got the harbor kind of in a valley, and Hong Kong itself is, has great hills really close to the harbor. So all of these buildings, and it was massive, and this was over 50 years ago, all faced the harbor. All the lights, the logos and stuff of all of these different companies were there, all on the harbor. And then you have the hills, Victoria Peak behind you. It was just gorgeous. The amount of lights and everything. I had some pictures of it. I hate to say it, I couldn't find them for this. But still, just gorgeous. So, first night I'm on duty. The next day, we all had to muster. We had a certain amount of work that had to be done. And then I was finally able to get on a shuttle and go into Hong Kong. And what I did is I stayed at the Hong Kong Hilton, which was one of the more luxury places. It wasn't just it was a Hilton, with doormen and everything. So I stayed there. Yes, did a fair amount of goofing off. But some of the stuff that happened while I was in Hong Kong. One, we went to the Kowloon. I'm having trouble pronouncing it, sorry. Side of the island. And it has a harbor there with a lot of little sampans and boats and stuff. And they have the world famous floating restaurants. So you have to get a boat. And these boats were just incredible. You had the guy rowing the boat, just one oar, and he just started moving it with it. The family might be in there. I have no idea. Some of these people might actually be living in those, but the family was there, and he got onto the boat, and they took you out to the floating restaurants. So I remember the first time we went there, there was maybe 10 of us all total that got together. And I happened to be sitting against the back windows, and I could look out and see a platform off the back. And it was so interesting to me, because you could see a guy who had a big table where he could cut up fish and everything. And you can just imagine him, because a runner would come out to him, tell him something, and he would call out to all of these fishermen on their boats and stuff. And basically, if you had that fish, you'd move up. The guy probably was bargaining with you. He got the fish, and then at that table, that's where he could cut it up, fillet it, and everything. That runner would come out, get the fish, go back in. I kind of even imagine that might have even been our order. What we did is we had a dinner presentation, basically just one meal order. And they had everything out, and we just can pick and choose what we wanted. It was fantastic. Floating restaurant. So I ended up going there a couple times. Also, the next time I went to Hong Kong, took some buddies that hadn't been there to show them to, and we went. Fantastic. Talking about food. Okay, Hong Kong, even in those days, was incredibly expensive. Okay. And there you had a fair amount of Americans there. They would have would be kind of like a country club, although, there's no golf course or anything like that, but still a club where they had a, place to, hang out, the country club. And food was very expensive. And this one club, the main club, somebody found out that you could bring over from America one pet. And so what they did, about every 3 months, one of the members would bring over from America his pet cow. And then that way they didn't have to pay for the beef prices. I thought that was funny. Anyway, I went up to Victoria's Peak, where you're looking down on it. It's gorgeous. Way down there was my ship, And that's where I was New Year's Eve. So I was at Victoria's Peak, watching all the fireworks down below. And there were a lot of fireworks. Just incredible. Some was going off on the peak, because that was the highest point anywhere near there. You could see, but mainly it was really great looking down at the fireworks coming up, and we're above them, Just incredible. So yeah, stayed at the Hilton. Now we had to get back on the ship by 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's not like I could stay there for 3 days. So I would get back on the ship. We would have a little odds and end duty, not much, and then go back out. And we tried to hit as many different places that we could. And, it was all tourist places or sailor places, um, around there. What I bought? Because we'd been out to sea for 3 weeks. Before that, I think we were just in the Philippines. Not too much going on there. Anyway, I got to Hong Kong, and I had quite a few paychecks worth of money. So I went and I spent it. And in those days, for what I was making, I spent something like $500 just on those 3 days. Oh, had tailor-made a camel hair double-breasted overcoat. I had a suit made. I bought a pair of dress boots. Okay, so that was kind of goofy stuff. I also got, let me show you. As you may know, I was smoking a pipe. I had one pipe. And when I got to Hong Kong, there was a tobacconist, and I bought 2 pipes. So this is the first 2 that I bought because my parents and family bought me my first pipe. This guy here, Beauteous GBD. I just love this. Notice it's almost could be kind of a umpal, or definitely a full bent. And then this guy here, this is a Peterson Block Meerschaum. Is this incredible? So my first 2 pipes. That gave me 3. Now, if you don't remember, I kind of believe in, and I was taught this, you smoke a pipe and you let it rest for at least 24 hours. So when I only had the 1 pipe, I still did that, and that was plenty for me. When I would have duty out on the signal bridge, I would smoke a bowl. In fact, I kept the pipe and all of these pipes actually up on the signal bridge because that's where I really smoked them. So, that's the truth. So that's a little bit of what the Hong Kong was about. Just incredible. I am so glad I went there. And then the next cruise, we did get to go again. And this time was fun because now I'm a senior person. But I had friends who had not been to Hong Kong. So I had enjoyed taking them around, to see stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I just have forgotten. But anyway, thought I'd let you know about Hong Kong. Thanks for listening. Well, I hope you like that. Remember, if you don't like this, you can't get to heaven. So may your smoking lamp always be lit. Take care out there.